I didn't think it was going to hit me because it's like if I were to move back, for example, to where my parents live, I don't know if that would feel like home anymore because I'm older, wiser, I've lived in bigger cities, so I might feel sort of suffocated there, right? Welcome to Bringing It to the Table with Whit and Flo.
The Black Jewish friendship you didn't know you needed.
We talk about identity, faith, and justice.
And whatever else comes up when two educated, opinionated, badass women come to the table.
I want you to take a moment. And when I say the word home, what comes up for you?
Feelings or place?
Tag not it.
A couple of things come up for me.
Okay.
One is let's age me right now.
No problem.
Let's just seriously age me without a number. Garden State, Zach Braff film. Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah. All right, great. So Zach Braff in that film, his character talks about the first time when you leave home. The first time you come back, you're like, oh my God, I missed that so much. Now I get to go back. You've never left before, so you never knew what it was to leave.
Totally.
When you leave home and then you're like, I'm gonna come back. You come back, and it feels a little different.
Yes.
Something you have changed. The place has changed.
Sure.
And so he says, you realize that what you're longing for no longer exists. Ugh. And then he says, maybe that's what a family is, a group of people all longing for the same imaginary space.
I need to sit with that.
So
you are longing for something that no longer exists. I need to sit with that for a moment. I'm getting emotional because my husband and I talk frequently about, like, we argued a lot about moving to the city that we're in right now, and to Kansas City, because I didn't feel like Kansas City could ever be home, right? I needed to have a Black church. I needed to have this. I needed to have that, right? Like, Denver felt like home because I had a community and I had a Black church that I could go to. Kalamazoo, same thing. Nashville, same thing. And here in Kansas City, I feel like homeless. But based on what you just said, that I'm chasing something that I may not be able to replicate, that makes me feel even more homeless.
How long have you been in Kansas City?
4 years now.
And first of all, I'm honored to share this moment. I just want to say.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to hit me because it's like, you're right. Like, if I were to move back, for example, to where my parents live, I don't know if that would feel like home anymore because I'm older, wiser, I've lived in bigger cities, so I might feel sort of suffocated there, right? If I move back to Nashville, there are some very painful memories that I don't write. If I move back to Denver was like beautiful and picturesque, but it was so far from everyone that I loved that I had to build a para community. And Kansas City has the opportunity to offer those things to me, but I don't know if I've ever allowed myself to think of Kansas City as home.
So first of all, it's interesting that this word home, we said we wanted to talk about home, it felt right, and all of a sudden it's feeling like one of the most emotional words we could have chosen.
Yeah, I honestly, this homelessness is something that I have been, and I am crossing my arms, which means I'm trying to protect myself from this conversation. So I need to open up. This idea of home, when I was in Nashville, I moved 13 different times. I lived in Nashville 14 years. So that should tell you like what my life was like. By way of contrast, my parents have lived in the same home for 31 years. To contrast that, my husband doesn't have a childhood home, like a house to go to. And so I'm thinking about what I am, the archetype I'm building in my mind for what home is. Because if you ask me who home is as a person, I'm going to tell you it's my husband. He is home. He is my safe place. He is the person that gets my quirks. He's the person that mutes the TV because he knows I'm overstimulated. He is home. And yet there's still this tension in terms of like the physical location. So I'm sitting with it, and I think I'll continue to sit with it during this episode. Who is or who are the people that come up for you when I say who is home or where is home?
So I start by saying, is this a place? I'm going to answer this in a different way because I don't have a husband.
Yep.
There are certainly people that are home, and this is a concept that's evolving for me. I can tell you this. Jerusalem is home.
Yeah.
There is a piece of my heart that lives in Jerusalem. And when I land there, my heart is whole again.
Yeah.
Except it's also not whole again because there are pieces of my heart that do live with all the people I'm connected to and love.
Sure.
So what happens when I took Israeli citizenship when I first moved to Israel more than 20 years ago.
Okay.
I was so happy to be there, and you think I moved to a new place because it feels like home, because I want to be there. Yeah. And then you learn similarly that actually you also have no home because you're always torn by between at least two places.
Yeah.
I have two cultures. I have two, nationally speaking.
Yep.
Citizenry speaking, though I also have a third.
I was going to say three, right? Yeah.
I'll talk about that too if we have time.
Yeah.
What it means to get a third passport in a place that you've spent 2 hours in.
Sure.
And yet when it comes, it also feels right, strangely. But simplest answer, Jerusalem is home. But the moment that I could be there and I felt my heart was full, I realized my heart would always be broken. Or on the positive sense, pieces of my heart were living all over. And
that reminds me of the story about the temple when the older people, the elders and the younger people were together and you couldn't tell who was weeping and who was rejoicing. To have the temple rebuilt, to have like home rebuilt, it's like a heartbreaking and also joyous celebration to have multiple homes. Like I'm thinking about the how grateful I am to have a home here in Kansas City and how every time I leave my parents' home, I want to go back and I want to stay there, but I don't want to stay there. Like, it's like, I imagine that the weeping was a part of like, we know we need this. And also we are heartbroken that we need this. Do you get what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about how my home is here, my home is in Kalamazoo, and it breaks my heart either way to leave my old home and to create a new one. And there's joy and pain in both of those.
Yeah, I'm my roommate, who happens to be my sister, is moving out next week.
Right.
And first of all, I came to Kansas City.
That's right.
You and I were driving down the street.
That's right.
We were on the highway.
That's
I
right.
haven't lived here in more than 30 years.
Yep.
And I saw something on the highway and I said, wait a minute, I used to drive past this every day.
Yep.
So this place doesn't feel like home to me yet. It's like there's a home and there's a familiarity and it's completely different.
Yep.
When I fly back, my home will be in boxes partially.
Yeah.
And I'm not moving, but a home is leaving that space.
That's right. Something is being torn down and rebuilt. Yeah.
And that is so painful. But also, like I said, I lived in Jerusalem for over 11 years.
Yeah.
I go back and I just pick up right where I left off.
Yeah.
It feels right to me there. I don't know if people ever ask you, where are you from?
They do. And it's a point of contention for me, right? So I was born in Paw Paw, Michigan, which is down here. And then Paw Paw was a village. And there were, I think, 4 Black families in the entire village. And then we moved up to Kalamazoo, which is a little bit bigger of a city. It was like 40, 60, I think. So it was a fairly diverse city. But when people ask me where I'm from, I say it 2 different ways. I say, I was raised in Kalamazoo, but I became an adult and the person that you see today in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's no disrespect. Mommy and Daddy, I love you. It was no disrespect to Kalamazoo, but I didn't come into my own until I got to Nashville, right? I became a wife, an ex-wife, a mother, a new wife, right? Like an HBCU grad. I did 3 of my degrees there. So like Nashville is like solidified in my body as one of my homes. Now, to your point, when I go back to Nashville, I'm like, what the hell? Like, where did that building come from? And what does that look like? And where, right? It's disorienting.
And when people say to me, where are you from?
Yeah.
You know, like, well, where is home was our question. Jerusalem is home. So when you're like, no, but where are you from? But where are you from?
Right.
So first of all, that's taking away some part of my ability to tell you who I am and what my values are.
Why do you think people need you to answer that question with such specificity?
That was my next question. Okay, that was my next question, because I will tell you this. So I've now said this a number of times. I want to do a shout out to a friend of mine, Matt. Matt, I am from Kansas City, Kansas, and St. Louis, Missouri.
Love that.
Matt challenged me to say that with pride.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't want to say that is because I actually don't think of Kansas City or St. Louis, Missouri as central to my identity and central to who I am.
Okay.
I think of Jerusalem as central to my identity and who I am.
Sure.
But what I have discounted is the impact of growing up in the Midwest in solidifying my identity.
Yeah.
I had very negative experiences in high school.
Sure.
I don't want to think back to those days.
Sure.
I don't want to associate with a community where, as a smart, ambitious, one of the only Jewish kids, and was bossy, assertive, feminist was a bad word, you don't be caught in this public high school. But I now understand as an adult who came of age and became who she was at a women's school in New York City, that growing up Jewish in the Midwest is what made me sensitive to what it is to be other.
Yeah. No shade to Kalamazoo, but when I think about where home is in Kalamazoo, I think about my childhood home and my childhood church. So I don't think about the entire city as home. I think about those 2 places as home. And it's interesting that you said that home is defined as the place where you're either the place that your soul longs for, or the place that your soul is most fed. And so I'm thinking about how you have triple citizenship and how you are able to trace your lineage. And I was telling you that like a part of the homelessness and the restlessness that I feel is like when racist folks are like, go back to where you came from. I'm like, tell me, homie, tell me, because I don't actually know where home is. Like, the enslavers spent a lot of time and energy destroying records that might help me recognize where I'm from. My name, right, is not the name that my foreparents would have been given and my ancestors would have been given. So this concept of like being able to trace, I'm wondering if I will always feel slightly homeless. Mm-hmm. And if needing to know where I come from is truly always going to be make or break for me.
Is it make or break? Is that something that you feel?
I am so envious that you are able to trace your history. I am so envious. Like, I think I was able to get back 5 generations. And then after that, I just don't know. And it's almost like because I don't know where I've come from, it feels like there's a part of my identity that is missing. Like I know my parents' parents, and my parents' parents, and that's about where it stops. But, I was telling you that I was trying to do like a genealogy project, and I pulled out my parents' birth certificates, and one said Negro and one said colored. And I am just like, and I remember saying to my dad, like, Dad, did you know you were born in a hospital? Because I feel like there was something floating around that he was like born at home. And I was like, no, you weren't born at home. But I think it was my mom that was born. But it's like that, like, I want to know the answers to those questions because it helps me understand who I am. And if I feel like knowing where I've come from helps me know where I need to go.
That's so interesting to me, because I think a lot about how we are alive, we are on this planet for too short a time to be so stuck in our ways.
I mean,
and clearly there's a human need
Yeah.
to know where we come from, which
Right.
is that feels like actually a physical space. Where are you from?
Yeah.
There's a human need
Yeah.
because what I'm hearing, you're struggling with not having that information. I don't know who I am if I don't know where I'm from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that not? I'm going to get a little
Yeah.
back into theology with you. It's like is that part of the way we struggle with our mortality? Maybe because we want to be part of links in a longer chain, and we need to tie our story to the. You said if I don't know where I'm from, which I think means a physical location right now. Who I'm from. Thank you.
Yeah. If I don't know who I'm from, then I run the risk of being relegated to my history starting at slavery.
I hear you.
And I don't want my history to start with bondage. I want my history to start with freedom. So one of the reasons why it is important for me to be able to trace back is I want to know my tribe. I want to know my people. I want to know if I can find out where they came from. What ship were they on? Were they a part of the people that threw themselves overboard because they would rather float in the sea than, like, who am I? What did they give me? Who am I? So maybe I'm not asking where is home. I'm asking who am I in the absence of knowing where home is.
And that is related to the people that preceded you.
Yeah. 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 And because I keep moving all over the country, it's really difficult for me to understand what rootedness looks like. Right? Like, and what does it look like to have roots in a place? I guess, what does it look like when a place doesn't feel home to turn it into your home?
When I first went for a long time in Israel, I thought I would graduate college, move to Israel, marry an Israeli man, live the rest of my life there.
Sure.
And then I didn't buy furniture.
Yeah.
Because home comes when you're married.
Oh.
Somehow that was the understanding. And you don't deserve nice things. You get nice things when you're married.
Yeah. Sure.
And you're building a home.
Sure.
So until then, I can't get nice things now. That's something that's coming when I build my home with my forever person, which, let's be super clear, like, that's not necessarily the result of any of these stages.
Right.
And then I realized that there's a lot of that attitude matters. If you're treating where you're at as temporary, then it has implications for everything else that you do. And so when I moved to Washington, D.C., where I currently live, I was like, I have to buy furniture this very first week.
Yeah.
And I deserve nice things.
Yes.
And I need to, this place, I never wanted to live in Washington, D.C. It is not my natural habitat by any stretch of the imagination, but I need to find a way to have roots, even if they're not deep.
Yep.
Because that kind of permanence is going to allow me to make human connections, is going to allow me to connect here, because if my energy is I'm just here temporarily, even if that's just a thought, that translates.
Yeah, I had a similar, my husband and I, when we moved to a place, I unpacked the boxes in the first weekend. Every single thing is set up for us to move from a house into making it a home, because I don't want my children to ever feel destabilized from moving around too much, right? I'm also, something that you said resonated with me, and I need to sit with it for a minute, because you said something about marriage being the precipitator of nice things. And I'm wondering what nice things I'm holding my breath for before I'll make Kansas City my home. And I don't know.
How long have you been in Kansas City?
4 years. You keep asking. I know.
Sorry, I keep listening.
I know. But for what it's worth, when I went to Jerusalem, and went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, I was like, "Oh, I'm home."
Really?
Yeah. So not Jerusalem, because let me tell you something. Nope, I won't say the airline just in case they become a sponsor. But let me tell you something. Riding on that airline, I was like, oh no, I am a fish out of water. There was one woman who slept on my shoulder the entire 12-hour trip and watched my TV. And I was like, no, I ain't cut out for this. But when I walked the streets of Jerusalem with my atheist Jewish tour guide, by the way, who told me, no, Jesus was real. And this is where Jesus walked. This was the church. And when she said, this is where he was supposed to be buried, but of course the tomb is empty, my spirit leapt. And I said, oh yeah, this is a part of my home. I remember calling my mom and I said, Mom, I have Wi-Fi where Jesus walked. I'm drinking coffee at the Jesus shop. And she was just like crying and I was crying. And she was like, never in my life did I imagine. And so that was home. I don't want to live there, but that was home. And Carlton is home. Mm-hmm. And even education is home. And so I didn't realize this topic was going to be as impactful, because home is a tough, the Black church is home.
I want to try something with you. Close your eyes for a second. I'm going to say a word and I want you to say the first feeling. Okay, I'm going to say a word, you say a feeling.
Let me pick up my
first feeling the feeling that you feel in your body when I say the word.
Got it.
Okay. Home.
I don't know. The library.
That's not a feeling.
Oh. Take two.
But I love that.
Home. Home, the feeling. I feel sadness.
Oh, that's interesting.
I feel sadness. I feel sadness because, back to what you said, what if home is chasing a feeling that we may never find again? Does that mean I'm homeless, or does that mean that I need to rethink what home is? Mm-hmm.
But when you say, does that mean I'm homeless, that's bringing up another feeling for you. So home represents something for you.
It represents a clear path to understanding my history so that I have a clear path to understanding my future. But I think I'm making a lot of assumptions in that. As I'm talking to you about it, I'm like, I think I'm idealizing this concept of knowing all the things, or being able to know all the things.
It's interesting for me that home represents all of these needs. When we were thinking about talking about home, I don't think we were realizing that word was going to encapsulate all of our longings.
Love. Mm-hmm.
So,
what's fascinating is in the Black church, we ask, where is your home church? And you're right. That's asking, where are your roots?
I think home, is a human need of, like when you're a kid, you think the universe operates by certain rules, good or bad. You think that there is order to the world. You think that there are rules and laws, and you become an adult and you realize everybody's doing the best they can, which is not always enough. And so I suspect that this longing for home is actually a longing for certainty.
Woo!
And
I think it's a longing for security.
Yes.
I don't think it's a longing for certainty. Because honestly, when I'm feeling uncertain, my husband will look at me and say, we got this. And that makes me feel secure. Mm-hmm. That helps me feel secure. And it helps me feel grounded. But
So I miss Jerusalem every day.
Yeah.
There are days when it used to be when I saw a picture or I talked to a person, but now I can just kind of imagine the feeling I'm carrying it, and I can start to get a little sad, but I also appreciate now that home as security, home as certainty, home as also resides in people and resides in experiences and resides there. If you gave me a plane ticket tomorrow and said you can go anywhere you want, where are you going? I would go to Israel because I need to soak some of that up.
Yeah.
But I also want to be really clear, home also resides in some people, and some connections, and some loved ones. And I will forever have many homes and have pieces of my heart in many homes. And so maybe being an adult is reconciling all those different tensions.
And understanding that home doesn't have to be defined for everyone in the same way. Because I don't know if in this moment in my life, if I have found my home, my physical home, but I am learning more and more the ways in which my family is my home, right? They are my people, my babies. They are my people, my husband, my people, my mom and dad, my siblings. Those are my people, my best friends. Those are my people. And those are, as long as I am with them, then I suppose I'm not homeless. Now it's your turn. Take this talk, stir it up with your people, and see what rises. Whether you're at the Shabbat table, or the Sunday dinner table, or the coffee table, don't forget to bring it. And remember, even if you don't feel like you have a home, you always have a seat at our table.